Hey everybody, today I wanted to review the Canon 85mm 1.2. Unlike other reviews, I guess people who are looking to review this lens really know what it's capable of. Its aperture goes down to 1.2. I guess the point of my review is I've actually had this lens for about 4 years now, and so it's a long-term review on usability and practicality, I guess. So as you can see, the 85mm is quite large compared to the 2470 and its smaller brother, the 35mm. The 85mm lens is pretty much fat. As you can see here, it uses a 72mm ring, which I guess is pretty annoying if you are pretty much set to have all of your filters using the standard 77mm for all the L lenses. One of the issues I have with this lens is its focusing. It uses what is known as a focus by wire mechanism, and what that means is you can't physically focus regardless of whether you're in manual or autofocus without power. If you notice, the element does not move. It needs power to essentially move the servos when the ring is triggered. It's all electronic, and I guess that's good if you like light focusing, because the glass is a bit heavy, but I think it's just another piece to break down once time goes by, and it's not as precise, especially when you're doing video work and you want to get the depth of field so low, so at 1.2, that you want precise focusing, and it won't give you that precise field that a physical lens would. It's all electronic, so you have to fudge with it and then fudge back. You'll eventually get there, but it's a slow kind of beast. And I guess that goes the same with autofocusing. When you're autofocusing, it will take a while to get there. It isn't as fast in focus as most lenses, but that's really because the element is pretty large. And again, it's a portrait lens, it's not a sports lens. One of the gripes I have with this lens is, as you can see, unlike the other lenses, this glass here is pretty much right on the edge. You see that? Compared to every other lens I've used, where at least there's a divot of some sort, where the glass isn't fully touching, so you don't have to worry about it being scratched. Notice here there's probably about 2 or 3 millimeters of space. Here there's none. So changing lenses quickly on the field, as you can see, is a pretty precarious task, and I do it with great care. The materials it's actually very well built. I would say the plastic is on par with the 2470. It doesn't have the weather sealing that the 2470 has, but you know, like I said earlier, this lens is pretty much babied, so it doesn't quite go out when it's raining. Anyways, it's pretty fragile to me, but it's built pretty solid. The glass is so heavy though that if I think you drop this, it's pretty much going to be done for. Unlike the 35mm, where I think, you know, the plastic it's a bit cheaper. I mean, it's an L lens, but doesn't compare to the thickness that these two have. Mounting the lens is pretty straightforward. Think obviously if you have a 1D series body or a battery pack, it makes things a bit easier, especially if you're filming video, because there's a lot of room in the bottom. But like I said, with mounting, it'd be pretty careful not to scratch the glass on the edges of the metal mount, and it snaps into place. The only time I guess I would have problems mounting would be on video, where I would use a T2i or 5D without a battery pack. And I'm not sure you can tell here that the lens is actually larger than the body. And this actually causes some problems, especially when you're using mounting plates. Usually the plates sit here and the lens obstructs it, so sometimes you have to push the plate back, or you have a difficult time mounting and unmounting the lens on a T2i or a 5D that doesn't have the battery pack. Another feature that I find pretty useful is the lens hood. And the reason is it actually uses a push button mechanism instead of the bayonet. So what that means is, if you notice, there is these little blades that come in and out when you push. And what that allows you to do is just pretty much snaps on and then snaps off. And I find that useful because during events, sometimes when I have multiple bodies and multiple lenses, during prep time I have to go fix the bayonets, align it correctly and then twist it and go on to the next lens. And even though it takes a few seconds, this just allows me to snap on, snap off. I don't even think about it, move on. And it's, the little things that I find are useful. The lens itself is pretty expensive. I think new, it's about 1800 USD. Used, it's probably about 16, give or take, depending on the condition. I believe it is actually one of the better purchases that I've made. As far as usability goes, it is excellent for portraits, and aside from having to baby it a lot, it would pretty much pay for itself.